Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of a series. I don't know if we'll go any further. This is just something I wanted to do for completion's sake. It's if I were to give Pokemon to the Crash Bandicoot characters as if they were Pokemon trainers. This is part 2. Part 1 I did Crash, Coco, and Crunch, so I decided we'll do the villain side now. I'm going to give them 3 Pokemon each. I don't want to give them a full 6 because I feel like that'll bloat the video unnecessarily. If this is your first time coming to the channel, I release Crash Bandicoot content every weekend. We talk about theories, lore, we do fun little things like this, Wumpokemon. We debunk theories, we talk news. So if you like Crash Bandicoot and you want Crash Bandicoot videos in your feed every weekend, maybe consider subscribing. With that all said, let's jump into the topic and start with Neo Cortex. So the first Pokemon that I would give Neo Cortex is Alakazam, mainly because he's a genius. His IQ is over 5,000, and Dr. Cortex is brilliant. He invents all sorts of things. He could cross dimensions with his Psychotron, and him being yellow is also a perk. So if you read Alakazam's Pokédex entry, it says, Alakazam's brain continually grows infinitely, multiplying brain cells. This amazing brain gives this Pokemon an outstandingly high IQ of 5,000. It has a thorough memory of everything that has occurred in the world, while it has strong psychic abilities and high intelligence, and Alakazam's muscles are very weak, which Cortex's muscles are also very weak. We've seen him try and get in a physical fight, and the only time he actually did a good bit of fighting physically was when he transformed at the end of Crash Mind Over Mutant. So Alakazam would be Cortex's number 1. And now we're going to go to his second Pokemon, Mewtwo. I understand that Dr. Brio is the one who created the Evolvo Ray, but just because someone created something doesn't mean that you can't associate it with someone else. So yes, Brio technically created it, but Cortex himself uses it a lot. And Mewtwo is a man-made Pokemon, so it's not exactly like evolving an animal. He cloned Mew, or Mew was cloned into Mewtwo. So this is like as close as you can get to the Evolvo Ray in the Pokemon series. So Mewtwo would be Cortex's second Pokemon. Which brings us to our last Pokemon, N Unknown. Unknown style N. Cortex is just N all the time. He plasters that N all over all his machinery, all his labs, all his billboards in the future when you go to the future levels in Warped, on his forehead. Cortex loves the letter N. So the letter N for Unknown will be Cortex's final Pokemon. So Cortex's team is Alakazam, Mewtwo, and Unknown. Style N. So now we're going to move to Dr. N. Brio. And Dr. N. Brio's first Pokemon is Grimer, specifically the Alolan Grimer because it's green. So if you're unfamiliar with Dr. N. Brio, he has beakers that he throws, green beakers, and what comes out of them? Green blobs. And what is Grimer here? He is a toxic green blob. So I feel as if the Grimer encapsulates that very well. And then we're going to move on to his second Pokemon, Toxicroak. It is toxic and a frog. What do frogs have to do with Brio, you ask? Well, it's unconfirmed. Just the look of this frog character in Twinsanity, how it has the same bolts as Brio has. I'm tempted to believe that this is Brio's original experiment. Cortex had the evil twins. N.Gin was making paper airplanes, and because the frog looks similar to Brio and it's sitting next to him, I always took that as Brio made the frogs. Also, in Crash Twinsanity, Brio transforms into a frog-like form when he drinks his potions, bouncing around on an iceberg. So that's another connection to frogs and Brio and toxicity. And what's the last thing you think about when you think about Brio? For me, it's definitely his Hulk form, his mutated form, his monster form. This is in every appearance, minus Twinsanity. He transforms into this big Hulk-like creature. And what Pokemon would that be represented by? Grimmsnarl. While the muscles are technically his hair, in his Pokedex entry it says the hair becomes muscle-like fibers. So he's a giant, muscular, green monster. So I think that fits Brio wonderfully. So again, we've got Alolan Grimer, Toxicroak, and Grimmsnarl. And now we're moving on to our final Pokemon trainer, Dr. N.Gin. So I don't know about you, but the first thing I think about for N.Gin, not the missile in his head, which most people would think that. I always think of the mechs that he builds and he pilots, and the Pokemon that best represents flying machinery to me is Magnezone. Magnezone looks like something N.Gin would pilot. Right in that middle eye area, I could just see N.Gin sitting right in there and flying around Magnezone. Now, as far as missile Pokemon or rocket Pokemon, I couldn't really come up with anything, but I did want to go with Steel because there's not many cyborg Pokemon, if any. So I was trying to think of a Steel Pokemon that would look similar to N.Gin. Well, Bisharp doesn't have a rocket sticking out of his head. He does have a very pointy helmet, and he is made of metal. So I feel like this is a good capture of N.Gin. And Bisharp's helmet also looks like it sections his face off into two different halves because of the helmet. So N.Gin has like the whole double face because of his cyborg, so I think that worked well too. And there's one final Pokemon that I would pick for N.Gin, and actually it is a cyborg. So N.Gin is a cyborg, so I picked this cyborg Pokemon for N.Gin's final Pokemon. Genesect. Genesect was an ancient bug Pokemon that was altered and given mechanics and a cannon. So he is the definition of a cyborg. He's an organic creature with cyborg enhancements. So that's easily N.Gin to me. And plus, another bonus is it looks like a mech that he would use. So N.Gin's final team would be Magnezone, Bisharp, and Genesect. So everyone, that was me giving the evil side their Pokemon. So that's part 2 of the series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it. I was originally introduced to this idea by KarnEX. He's a Digimon YouTuber. He did a video about giving Pokemon to Digimon trainers. So I'll link part 1 and his channel in the description. If you guys have made it this far into the video, let's say Team Rocket, because N.Gin's rocket in his head. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.